Hey everyone, back here from our Pat here. Well, today we're at it's the 22nd of January, so we're almost at the end of January. And as you guys know, I have been planting up my new backyard farm in Palm Bay, Florida. I started planting last month. I planted a few beds, veggie beds, and I planted multiple fruit trees. If you guys missed that video, be sure to go ahead and watch it. And I want to take you guys along with my journey. So I'm going to show you what I have planted in January and what I'm still planting. I was just out this morning. It's been a kind of like a rainy morning, but I wanted to get my veggies in before the end of January. I'm doing something a little bit untraditional today. I'm not just planting greens or what the packages say you can plant. I'm planting a few items that really probably should be planted in February, but because Palm Bay is relatively mild weather, I figure, you know what, I'm gonna get started now. The worst that can happen is if it gets really cold, I can bring the seedlings onto my patio to keep them warm. But let's see what I'm planting for the month of January. Okay, so I'm gonna start here on my patio, and then I'm gonna move on to the outside to show you exactly where I planted each thing. So as you guys know, I have my handy dandy it's actually a photo album that I use to go through, and what I do is I kind of organize everything based on months so I can know what to plant for each month. So here's what I planted. I'm planting quite an array of veggies for the month because, as I said, if it's a little bit too early, the most that I will lose is probably less than, you know, 10 cents or 5 cents, if that much, maybe less than 5 cents per seed. So I went in and added some more bok chow. This is the first time I'm making this one, the tatsoi bok chow. I know several of my garden friends, um, they plant tatsoi and it seems to do very well. You can see how big and beautiful this bok chow uses. So I direct seeded the bok chow. Last month I seeded my bok chow and my veggies in a small seed tray that looks just like this. Actually these seed trays, but because I kind of neglected them, they kind of got very leggy. So some of them that I transplanted didn't do very well. So I'm just direct seeding. So I'm using some milk bok chow and the tatsoi. I also am direct seeding some additional mustard greens, and these are the Florida broadleaf mustard greens. If you guys saw my videos from when I earlier last year when I just started my channel, you'll see my mustard greens were massive. Each leaf was bigger than my head, and my head is pretty big. So I'm direct sowing some additional mustard greens. I'm gonna show you in the garden the ones that I transplanted. You'll see that some took well and they're doing well, and others they basically petered out, but I'll show you those. I'm also showing doing some baby bok chow, and I'm doing this directly in a raised pot, and I'll show you that also. I've planted some King of the North tomatoes as well. Actually, I did not plant the King of the North tomatoes. I was gonna plant it, but I have some California Wonder tomatoes that I'm gonna plant. I planted a few seeds. What I did for these ones that are a bit early, like tomatoes and cucumbers, peppers, it's a bit early in the season to plant these, so I literally only planted 2 or 3 seeds of each of these, just to make sure that I don't waste any seeds. If 1 or 2 of them take, that'll be perfect. One thing to know about tomatoes, which if you decide to plant a tomato from start, you don't need to buy multiple tomatoes. You can buy one tomato plant, and as soon as that grows to maybe 2 feet, 3 feet, you can break a piece and stick it in the ground, and it will grow. And I'll show you that on a future video when my tomatoes grow. I'm planting cucumbers. These are muncher cucumbers. And let's see what else I'm planting. Then over here, these are all seeds I saved from last year. My cachucha peppers, which to me are the most wonderful peppers on earth. They're the same family as Scotch bonnet, and us island people, we know our Scotch bonnet. However, they are red. They are red color, and they're probably a little bit spicier, but the flavor is incredible. I also am planting my black cherry tomatoes. I planted it for the first time last year, but then I moved from that property and I didn't get a chance to really taste them before I moved. So I'm planting some more black cherry tomatoes. So here, these are also cachucha peppers. So I just planted cachucha and I planted these. It says red scotchy. That's before I knew the same name, but I planted some of both. Then last year I got quite a few purple Scotch bonnet peppers. So I planted all my Scotch bonnet peppers because I love me some spice. All right. Then right beside it, I have some bunching onions that I'm growing for the first time. I'm assuming these are the same as the green onions that we buy in the supermarket. The green onions in the supermarket, I just cut them and stick them in the ground and they grow. But I figure it's $1 and I can get hundreds of seeds, so or 60 seeds. No, actually, probably hundreds of seeds. So I'm just gonna use these in the garden. And then this is also a crop that is probably way too early for, but my beans. Beans are great nitrogen fixers. Plus, I love me some beans. So I'm planting some Royal Burgundy bush beans and some early bush beans that I think a lot of these you can harvest within 30 to 45 days. So while my seedlings grow, while my seeds germinate and grow, I'm going to have these beans and probably be able to harvest the beans before my other stuff grows in. Also, I watched a video last year and I cannot remember whose video it was. It I think it was just some random video on YouTube about the blue butterfly peas, and it's an absolutely spectacular plant and flower when it grows, and then of course it gives you these long beautiful blue peas. So I ordered some, so it's organic peas that I got 100 organic peas. I just planted 3 of them directly into the garden. Then a sneak preview into next month, I bought all these additional seeds. You know, us gardeners, it's hard to go to Home Depot and not buy seeds. I really want to plant some sweet corn. I've never planted corn in my life. Now that I have the space, I'm going to plant some corn. But these I'm going to plant later on. So my cantaloupe, my bush sugar baby, and my buttercup squash. First time planting these, but these are just some seeds that I bought to go along with my other seeds that I'm going to be planting in the next few months. I'm going to be planting my okra pretty soon. You guys stay tuned. And then these seeds are from a pumpkin I bought from the store that was absolutely the most delicious pumpkin. It was so sweet, so delicious. So I'm going to plant some of those pumpkin seeds. Then here I have some okra, some spineless okra, but okra is a real summer crop, so that's down the road. Anyway, let's go outside and see where I planted and what I did so far. All right. Okay, so over here in my beds, this is where I transplanted my Florida broadleaf, and you can see they're coming up. But for instance, the bok chow, the baby bok chow went immediately to seed, and I think it's just because I didn't get them into the ground fast enough. The lawnmower hit it, the weed whacker hit it, and it was just, bad. So these didn't do well. I'm just gonna stick this back in the ground. This will become worm food. Call it chop and drop. I'm just gonna stick it back in the ground, and that will become worm food. That's not gonna grow. But these other ones, they're coming up pretty nicely. So some of the, as you can see, some of them did come up nicely, but a lot of them are very, very small. I don't think they're gonna really come to. So what I did over here is I went in and lightly, where you see the soil moved, I just lightly sprinkled some additional seeds. So throughout the bed, I sprinkled some additional baby bok choy and some additional Florida broadleaf. So you can see how beautiful it is, and that's gonna get like maybe 10 times, 20 times bigger. My herbs are still doing very well. So that's over here. Also in this other bed, these are also where I put some of the transplants in. So I'm gonna go ahead and I already went ahead and I sprinkled all along the side, mainly baby bok choy, not the baby bok choy, the tatsoi. So I should have some tatsoi growing up. You can see right here I have a couple little gungo pea seedlings. I'm not gonna leave them there. I just kind of stuck them here while I go ahead and do some more stuff. Then over here, where you see all the little spaces, is where I planted different kind of bush beans, different varieties of bush beans. So as time goes on, within 30, a lot of them say 30 to 45 days to harvest. So to start harvesting. So I'll be able to start harvesting bush beans while I wait for my other tomatoes and peppers and other items to be ready. Over here, let me walk around here. Oh, can't forget this. So here, this was actually chocho or chayote squash that I bought from the store. And I noticed that it had a little tiny little growth on the top. You probably couldn't even see it, but there was a tiny little growth on the top. So I said, you know what, let me plant it. With chayote squash or chocho, the growth, you don't have to plant the whole thing. You can plant it like halfway in the soil. So here you can see I had the top part pointing up. The bottom pointing down, and I just covered it over in dirt. And you can see it's already springing. Within like a week or two, it started springing. This is not a proper trellis. I'm gonna actually build a trellis, but I just put this little piece of stick here so it can run up it. But this is free. This is free food. It's a chocho I got from the store, maybe 50 cents. And this can give me 50 chocho, 100 chocho, also known as chayote squash. Then on the other side of the bed, I have my Scotch bonnet peppers, which you can see there. It's doing very, very well. It still has some peppers on there, hanging in there. What I'll do is when it stops bearing, I'll just cut this back. I'll cut it back to maybe a Y, and by the time the spring comes, it's going to be covered with peppers again. But I'm not ready to cut it back because you can see it's still doing very, very well. Look at all those peppers. Still doing very, very well. Then right beside it, I have my Thai chili pepper that I just planted maybe 2 weeks ago. So it had blossoms on it when I got it. But now the blossoms have quickly become peppers. So you can see I have peppers on my Thai chili pepper. This is my first time growing Thai chili pepper. Seems to like the spot very well. More blossoms are coming out, and the blossoms that I had are now peppers. Then beside it, for the very first time, I'm gonna put these in the ground. This is rootstock. So for certain plants, and this is my first time growing from rootstock. For certain plants, you can actually purchase the root from a previous season. And this is how it comes. I got these at Lowe's. So I'm going to plant a raspberry. My first time planting raspberry. It's called Latham Red Raspberry. It's $9.98 at Lowe's. And I also bought a grape tree. So I know in Florida muscadines grow really well. This is a purple grape. The guy at Home Depot said that these grow very well in Florida. So we'll see. But I'm going to keep my receipt just in case it doesn't grow well. But in the spring, what happens? You plant this now while it's dormant. You plant it in the winter. And then in the spring, it will actually spring and start growing. Grapes grow on a vine. Grapes grow on a very long vine. So what I'm going to do is put some kind of fencing along the back wall so that this can grow on it. So that's what I have growing. So let's move on to my potting table. So here's where I planted all my seeds. So you can see I have this is where I've just planted all my seedlings. So you can see my red cherry, my brandy cherries, my black cherry, and my cucumbers. And then as you go along, you can see all the other things I planted, which I already went over in the other while I was on my patio. So you guys might be asking, hey Patrice, why didn't you use your usual seedlid trays that you love so much? Well, the reason is these are going to be a little bit bigger seedlings as they grow on, like the Scotch peppers and the different peppers. These are going to be bigger seedlings. So I'm giving them more space so that they can grow. And also, I planted things like star fruit and gungo peas and sorrel, red sorrel and white sorrel, and these things need space to grow. So they're not gonna grow. I mean, they will grow in the little tiny tray, but I'm gonna have to swap it out too quickly. So that's a good thing to consider when you're planting your seedlings, starting from seed. If it's like a fruit tree, like the star fruit, the sorrel, or pea, like gunga peas that are it's gonna be like a big tree. You might not want to start it in a tiny seedling tray that has like 1 ounce of dirt. You might want to start it in a bigger container. This one here, I'm not sure what I'm gonna put in here yet, but I will decide. Then here, these are some potatoes, some purple flesh potatoes that I had in my pantry that are kind of growing too much. That already started shitting, shitting with a C. That means sprouting eyes. So I'm gonna plant these. I haven't decided exactly where yet, but I am gonna plant those. And then here, this is a beautiful blueberry bush that I got also at Lowe's. Look at that, it's already loaded with blossoms. So I'm gonna put my blueberry bush in. Oh, and guys, I wanna show you something really, 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 really cool. So as I said, as I always say, I like to grow food and I like to grow from seed. I like to grow inexpensively. You don't have to spend a lot of money. So guys, I'm gonna show you something. All right, so let me see, where is it? So guys, I had some purple sweet potatoes. I had a couple purple flesh potatoes that had gone a little past off, so I put them in the ground. I had a great piece of African yam that my brother-in-law gave me, and it was so delicious that I decided to stick it in the ground, just stick it here until I found a place to put it. And look at this, guys. Look at this. Hold on. I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna do it just to show you. Guys, look at this. This is after like 3 weeks. My yam is already sprouting, so I have to find a permanent location and put it really quickly. So I'm gonna put it gently back to not disturb these roots. And I need to really get this into the right location before I have my sweet potatoes that are probably already sprouting also. But just like that, a free piece of yam that my brother-in-law gave me, and now I'm gonna have African yam in Palm Bay, Florida. Well, if it grows, I hope it grows. I almost forgot to show you this. So this is my raised tier bed that planted. I planted some of the bunching onions in, and also some baby bok choy. So this is where the baby bok choy that I showed you inside. This is where I planted them, and also this is another first for me, strawberries. Actually, I planted strawberries many years ago when I was living in Georgia. But I planted strawberries. So I got two little strawberry plants like this. So this on the top here is actually one plant. So this is one thing I always like to tell you guys, that if you're gonna start something from like a starter plant that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's, try and buy one that has multiple roots. So this, you can see, had 3 separate roots in the one little plant. So now I'm gonna have 3 strawberry plants in one. Another thing to note about strawberries, which is really great, is that strawberries send out runners. So that can be really good if you have them like in a large pot and you want them to take over the pot. But also these little runners, let me see if I can zoom in here. You see those tiny little things, those little white things right here? Those are going to become roots. So I can actually break this here and have another strawberry plant. Strawberries, as small as this is already setting out runners. So I can actually just break this and stick them all over if I want them to like take over certain beds, which I probably will. I'll give it a chance to take over some spots. So this one here is berry basket pink. I bought this, I think, at Home Depot. Yes, at Home Depot, that's what the tag says. Then when I went to Lowe's to see what they had one called sweet berry. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna break this. Let me see how many roots this has. Let's see. I can see a few roots. Let's see. I'm not gonna break it up yet, but you can see that it has one root there, one little root there, one here. It probably has the same 3 to 4 roots. So I'm gonna do the same here. I'm gonna separate it. So I'm gonna have two different kind of strawberries, and I'm gonna have probably 6 plants out of the 2 strawberries. And I think they were like $4 each. So I'm gonna have at least 6 strawberry plants plus multiple more once these runners start taking off. So let me just show you the last plant that I'm planting in the month of January. And I'm gonna plant it here along the fence. You guys see those orange things on the ground? I am getting my fence, so I had the electric company come and put flags by where the electric and the cable is, and I'm gonna be planting a fence. So here is my Mexican guava. I haven't put it in the ground yet, but it's going in the ground this weekend. So that's what I'm planting for the month of January. Let me show you real quickly one more thing. I'm not planting this, but I'm gonna be putting a fence. You see that pole, that electric pole? My fence is gonna go all the way behind my wood stack and all the way here. This was a massive, massive, massive bush. It cost me hundreds of dollars to have this removed. You can see how massive the roots were. They tried to get, the guy had to use a massive truck just to pull the roots out, but he gave up. So I told him to leave these other roots, and I'll be able to plant in between. But what I want to do all along here is plant my gungo peas or my pigeon peas trees. They have beautiful flowers. I'm also going to plant sorrel along here, okra, and probably some moringa trees, because moringa is like the most nutritious food on earth. So I'm gonna, the next time for the February video, you're gonna see my fence. I'm getting it in 2 weeks. And also, guys, look what I got. I got a storage shed. I got my storage shed. I got some concrete laid, and look, it's me, Pat, with my handprints. Plant, grow, eat, share. We laid the concrete out, and that's my husband, Ro. We got someone to lay out this concrete slab for us, and got this from Home Depot. Only cost $900. No, I'm lying. It cost $500. It's a 10 by 20, and got my little light switch here. That's just a stick-up light switch that I got from Fiber Below. So I have my shed now where I can put all my excess pots and stuff that I have all across the yard. I have my, I can make the place a little bit neater. So I'm going to transfer all those over to the shed. And I think that's it. All right, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I heard that is the magic number at YouTube. Please go ahead and share this video with your friends. If you want your friends to learn how to grow their own food, go ahead and share the video. If you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to me. And guys, let's go out today and plant a seed. Whether you can plant a seed in the outdoors directly in the ground like I did today, or you need to plant a seed and start them indoors or in under a heating lamp or with a heat map, go ahead and start it, right? But till next time, let's plant a seed together. Bye now.